Not yet? Oh, okay.
All right, we are live and welcome to the SignWriting Symposium 2024. We're happy that you came to join us. Today we're going to be discussing literature.
Can you all see me? My name is Valerie Sutton. Welcome to day 2 of the SignWriting Symposium. Welcome. Maybe now you can see me, right? Okay. Anyway, welcome. This is day 2, and I'm using American signs, but I'm talking in English at the same time. So that's called signed English, but it's better than nothing because we have no interpreters. So I'm using what I use when I teach. And okay, so I'm so happy to have you here today. And now I understand that Steve is going to give you the performances. And what are they today? They are on literature, which is reading, writing, sign language. So, Steve, go ahead.
All right, our first presentation is Literature in Written Libras, Deaf Literature. It's a project using a bilingual book in the visual literacy process of deaf students by Rubens Almeida. All right, give me a second and I will get the video up and we can start.
Rubens book. Very beautiful.
All right, and we are ready.
Olá a todos, eu sou o professor Rubens, esse aqui é o meu sinal. Podemos visualizar aqui na tela, logo abaixo, esse sinal, o meu sinal, registrado em escrita de sinais, pelo sistema SignWriting. E logo acima, visualizamos aqui o tema da apresentação que irei fazer aqui neste simpósio, no Simpósio SignWriting de 2024, onde estamos celebrando os 50 anos de história do sistema SignWriting. Então, o tema que eu irei abordar é literatura em Libras escrita pelo sistema SignWriting. Irei abordar um projeto que irá considerar a literatura em Libras escrita. Este projeto se chama Litera Surdos. Este é o sinal, Litera Surdos. É um projeto que utiliza um livro bilíngue no processo de letramento visual de estudantes surdos. Logo abaixo também visualizamos o título na versão em inglês, está traduzido em inglês, na cor dourada, amarela. O que será abordado, então, nesta apresentação de trabalho para o Simpósio SignWriting? Irei elencar aqui o que nós iremos considerar. Nós vamos considerar cinco tópicos. Então, a minha apresentação ela está estruturada nesses 5 tópicos. A primeira é sobre a proposta do projeto Litera Surdos. O segundo, irei explicar sobre a problematização e a justificativa, a razão de implementar esse projeto na escola bilíngue para surdos de São Luís. Irei destacar também alguns objetivos que queremos alcançar com a implementação deste projeto ele mostrar também o caminho, passo a passo, de como é que está sendo realizado esse trabalho, ou seja, a metodologia. E, por fim, consideraremos alguns resultados parciais, uma vez que esse projeto ele começou em março deste ano e tem a previsão de ser concluído em dezembro deste ano, né, de 2024. Então, com esse primeiro semestre que nós já aplicamos, já executamos o projeto, o que nós já temos de resultado? Então, são resultados parciais. Sobre a proposta do projeto Litera Surdos. A proposta é promover o letramento visual de estudantes surdos, como eu mencionei anteriormente, por meio da literatura em Libras, na modalidade escrita pelo sistema SignWriting. E nós estamos fazendo isso por meio do livro bilíngue que nós estamos visualizando aqui na tela, aqui em frente. E esse livro ele é intitulado Telasco e a sua turma em A Lenda da Manguda. Este livro ele foi publicado no ano passado, em 2023. Ele foi fomentado por uma instituição chamada FAPEMA. E com os recursos da FAPEMA, nós conseguimos arcar com as despesas que envolveu a sua publicação. E os livros que foram impressos, eles foram direcionados para 2 escolas bilíngues aqui no Maranhão. Então, aqui no Maranhão nós temos apenas 2 escolas bilíngues, uma que fica aqui na capital, onde eu trabalho, como eu atuo como professor de escrita de sinais, e temos uma outra escola no município chamado Imperatriz. Então, essas 2 instituições, elas foram contempladas com os exemplares impressos, a qual nós ofertamos para cada aluno. Então, conseguimos ofertar para cada aluno. Essa era a proposta, né? E o objetivo do projeto, que é responsável pela publicação, pela distribuição e produção de obras literárias, que eu também vou mencionar um pouco mais na frente sobre esse projeto. Falando ainda do projeto Litera Surdos, como eu já mencionei o sinal dele, e eu devo a criação desse sinal à colaboração de 3 professoras surdas que atuam na Escola Bilíngue de São Luís. Visualizamos aqui em tela a foto dessas professoras. A primeira, do lado esquerdo, é a professora surda Raíssa Cerejo, e ela também não é só professora, mas ela é a gestora adjunta da escola, da instituição. Cada uma das professoras surdas, nós também estamos visualizando que está com o sinal, o nome delas, né, o sinal pessoal em Libras, registrado, né, temos aqui o registro escrito pelo sistema SignWriting. Então, visualizamos aqui o sinal dela, é este. Está aqui registrado em escrita de sinais. Do lado direito, visualizamos a professora surda Simone Pinheiro. Aqui também temos o registro do sinal dela. E abaixo, estamos visualizando a foto da professora surda Lídia Arouche. Está aqui o sinal dela também registrado em escrita de sinais. Eu queria destacar que elas não só contribuíram para a criação do sinal do projeto, mas elas continuam contribuindo e muito, uma vez que elas são professoras surdas, são professoras de referência para os estudantes surdos. Então, elas contribuem na questão da intervenção, da intermediação com as crianças, por serem referências surdas. Elas são como que modelos e elas ajudam muito na questão do vocabulário da língua, da Libras, questão de conceituação. Então, elas sempre contribuem nesse processo de intervenção. Gostaria de apresentar a vocês a nossa instituição escolar, que é a Escola Bilíngue. Visualizamos a foto da instituição, da escola. O nome da escola é Escola Municipal Integral Bilíngue Língua Portuguesa e Libras. Libras escrita. E ela fica localizada no bairro chamado Camboa, que fica no município de São Luís, que é a capital do Maranhão. Nós estamos também visualizando, já mais do lado esquerdo ali, a logo da escola bilíngue, e o registro escrito do sinal da escola logo aqui embaixo. O que eu gostaria de destacar da escola é que ela é a favor do uso do sistema SignWriting, e o motivo que eu posso até destacar de que ela não tinha a disciplina de escrita de sinais, é uma instituição escolar bilíngue que contempla a disciplina escrita de sinais do sistema SignWriting. Anteriormente não tinha por falta exatamente de pessoas, de professores qualificados para trabalharem com a escrita de sinais. Então é uma realidade enfrentada não só no nosso estado, no Maranhão, mas também em todo o Brasil, que faltam professores qualificados para ministrar a escrita de sinais, já que nós já é consolidado na literatura que a escrita de sinais, o sistema SignWriting, ele é vital, é fundamental para o processo de aprendizagem das crianças surdas, porque é uma escrita da primeira língua das crianças. E a gente sabe que há uma carência nesse sentido. E a problematização. O que eu até destaquei é um problema também, mas não é o que fez com o incentivo, né? Fez o impulso para a iniciativa da implementação do projeto. Não é essa carência de professores qualificados. São dois motivos básicos, principais, que a gente pode destacar como uma problematização e assim justificar a implementação do projeto. Um motivo é a grande necessidade de oferecer aos estudantes surdos obras literárias acessíveis em sua língua materna, a Libras, na modalidade, principalmente na modalidade escrita. Principalmente obras direcionadas a gêneros literários específicos, que aqui no Maranhão podemos ressaltar as lendas, porque o Maranhão ele é um estado diferenciado, muito diferenciado de alguns outros estados, porque aqui é um patrimônio folclórico muito especial, porque ele é repleto de lendas. Eu não sou maranhense, eu não nasci no Maranhão, eu sou do Goiás, mudei para cá com minha família em 2016, e o que mais me chamou a atenção foi que aqui no estado do Maranhão tem muitas lendas diferentes do estado do Goiás. Eu me lembro que durante o meu processo escolar, na minha infância, minha adolescência, as lendas que nós estudávamos eram sobre lendas de outros estados, principalmente da Amazônia, que é um outro estado também rico de um patrimônio folclórico muito intenso, assim como o Maranhão. E eu fiquei encantado com esse repertório tão vasto de lendas. E aí, o que me chocou foi que os alunos surdos, quando eu conversava com eles, abordavam sobre as lendas, eles não conheciam nenhuma das lendas. Por quê? Não é culpa das crianças surdas, é culpa do sistema, porque não há obras literárias que vão falar dessas lendas ou de qualquer outro gênero literário na sua língua. Não há esse acervo. Diferente das crianças ouvintes, que já têm acesso a muitos materiais, muitas obras que vão mencionar, que vão falar sobre essas lendas e outras obras de gêneros literários. Então esse é um dos principais motivos, né, um dos maiores problemas que encontramos na realidade, não só aqui do estado do Maranhão, mas isso acontece em todo o Brasil. Visualizamos aqui uma imagem da escola, juntamente com alguns alunos da instituição, temos a gestora e também o prefeito, o atual prefeito de São Luís. Essa foto eu tirei da internet, tem aqui a fonte, né, da SECOM, que é da Secretaria da Prefeitura. Essa foto foi tirada em 2021. Eu coloquei aqui para dar uma enfatizada que essa é uma instituição voltada para o público surdo que adotou o sistema SignWriting na sua proposta curricular. Embora isso tenha acontecido apenas em 2023, mas eu gostaria de apontar isso como um fator positivo, porque muitas escolas bilíngues no Brasil ainda não acontece isso, ainda não foi implantado a disciplina escrita de sinais. E é muito, muito importante as escolas adotarem a escrita de sinais, porque, eu já até mencionei, já é consolidado na literatura, através de muitas pesquisas, dos resultados positivos ao se utilizar o sistema SignWriting no processo de letramento das crianças. Outra razão também que justifica a implementação do projeto Litera Surdos e que é um problema que nós identificamos é na questão do processo de aprendizagem da língua portuguesa na sua modalidade escrita por parte dos estudantes surdos. Então, o projeto ele tem como a justificativa sanar estes problemas. E como objetivo do projeto, vou elencar 4 objetivos. O primeiro, como já mencionei, por ter o principal problema que é a carência, a falta de obras literárias, então é suprir essa carência. Então é oferecer obras literárias acessíveis aos estudantes surdos. Então tornar a literatura mais acessível para eles, utilizando, claro, o sistema SignWriting, a Libras escrita, que vai contribuir para esse processo, uma vez que o sistema ele é um sistema de representação visual da sua língua, né, da língua dos surdos, da Libras, e os livros que são produzidos pelo projeto que é um parceiro do Litera Surdos, é que a proposta seja livros bilíngues, que não sejam produzidos apenas na Libras, na modalidade escrita, mas também que tenha o português na modalidade escrita, porque isso é que vai favorecer o processo da aquisição da língua portuguesa como segunda língua para as crianças. E é exatamente esse o segundo objetivo do projeto, que é facilitar esse processo de aquisição, porque como os livros estão nas 2 versões, nos 2 idiomas, isso certamente vai auxiliar os estudantes surdos no processo da aprendizagem do português como segunda língua. Como terceiro objetivo, posso destacar que a utilização do livro, do gênero literário, lendas maranhenses, e com as crianças tendo acesso a essas publicações em seu idioma, isso promove a produção escrita e da leitura dessas crianças, porque ela vai integrar a leitura em Libras escrita no processo educacional. Isso incentiva o desenvolvimento das habilidades de leitura e de escrita, tanto em Libras quanto em português. E o último objetivo que eu elenquei aqui, que faz parte do rol aqui do projeto, é a abordagem pedagógica do letramento visual, com a utilização do livro e aplicando, é claro, outros métodos de ensino que se baseiam na percepção visual dos estudantes surdos, isso contribuirá no estímulo do pensamento crítico e da compreensão conceitual da escrita da Libras. Então, já falamos então da proposta do projeto do Litera Surdos, mencionamos a justificativa e a problematização, elencamos aqui os 4 objetivos do projeto e agora terei a oportunidade de abordar sobre a metodologia, né? Qual o caminho que nós estamos usando para ajudar as crianças surdas com a implementação desse projeto. O que eu posso destacar, considerar sobre a metodologia é que ele está estruturado em 2 eixos principais. O primeiro eixo é exatamente sanar aquele problema que eu mencionei, que é a carência, a falta de obras literárias. E isso é possível porque o projeto Litera Surdos, que é um projeto da escola bilíngue, que é da Rede Municipal de São Luís, ela é integrada, ela é uma parceira de um outro projeto em uma outra instância, quero dizer, de uma outra Secretaria de Educação, que não é a municipal, é a Secretaria de Educação Estadual, que faz parte a qual eu trabalho, faço parte do CAIS, que é o Centro de Educação Especial para Pessoas com Surdez. E com essa parceria desses 2 projetos, por meio desse trabalho colaborativo, é que a gente consegue sanar, né, suprir essa carência. O projeto que eu estou me referindo se chama Escreva em Libras Maranhão. Então esse aqui é o sinal, Escreva em Libras Maranhão. Eu sou o coordenador desse projeto e o idealizador. Ele foi institucionalizado pelo CAIS em 2019. E um dos objetivos, uma das propostas do projeto Escreva em Libras Maranhão é exatamente este, de produzir e ofertar livros acessíveis para as crianças surdas, por meio da escrita de sinais, do sistema SignWriting. E a proposta do projeto é produzir essas obras literárias no gênero literário de lendas do Maranhão, lendas maranhenses. Aqui eu apresento a vocês um pouquinho dessa parte visual do projeto, né? Do projeto Escreva em Libras, a gente visualiza aqui do lado esquerdo a logo do projeto, mais à direita, também dentro de um círculo na cor roxa, visualizamos a logo do CAIS, que é a instituição mantenedora do projeto Escreva em Libras. Visualizamos aqui a grafia dos sinais dessas instituições, aqui do CAIS e aqui do Escreva em Libras. E mais recentemente eu produzi essa arte. Eu não sou ilustrador, eu não produzi a arte nesse sentido de fazer a ilustração. Eu tenho a parceria com um jovem surdo que é ilustrador, então ele fez aqui a ilustração da Velone Sutton, fazendo o sinal escrita de sinais, uma das variações de escrita de sinais. E ali em cima, logo em cima, está escrito literatura em Libras e abaixo menciona produções em escrita de sinais SignWriting. Então essa ilustração mostra bem qual é o objetivo do projeto Escreva em Libras, que casa muito bem com o projeto que nós estamos abordando, que estamos considerando aqui, que é o Litera Surdos. Ainda falando da metodologia, porque eu falei, ainda estou falando do primeiro viés, né, que ele é estruturado em dois viés. O primeiro é esse, da produção e distribuição das obras literárias, e aqui visualizamos elas. Eu gostaria de mostrar para vocês Vou mostrar aqui primeiro a da Lenda da Ana Jansen. Só um momento, eu vou mostrar. Essa obra que eu mostrei, a Lenda da Ana Jansen, ela foi produzida em 2021. E no ano seguinte, 2022, é que ela foi melhor organizada a sua distribuição para as escolas, principalmente escolas bilíngues, escolas inclusivas, com surdos matriculados, bibliotecas das faculdades, e também foi direcionado para algumas pessoas de liderança surda. E nós acreditamos que a distribuição, que foram 1.000 exemplares, foi fomentado pela UEMA, a UEMA que fomentou a produção, a impressão desses exemplares, e acreditamos que com a distribuição, com certeza, teve um efeito muito positivo, por ser o primeiro livro, um livro em escrita de sinais, infantil, para o público infantil, né, infanto-juvenil, feito aqui no estado do Maranhão. Então, como vocês puderam observar também, eu tentei mostrar ali algumas ilustrações, mas principalmente os textos em escrita de sinais. Então, uma obra que foi produzida, como eu mencionei, em 2023 e está sendo aplicada agora, em 2024, na escola bilíngue, né? Está executando e tentando aplicar da melhor forma possível a essa obra, com o intuito de alcançar esses objetivos já mencionados aqui. O projeto Escreva em Libras, Maranhão, ele continua com o objetivo de produzir ainda mais obras. Tem uma obra que ainda está no prelo, ainda está para ser lançado, está em produção, que é a obra literária A Lenda da Serpente Adormecida, de São Luís, também conhecida como Lenda da Serpente Encantada. A previsão de lançamento dessa obra é 2024, apesar que essa obra ela foi a minha primeira obra, a minha primeira iniciativa para fazer uma produção em escrita de sinais. Só que tivemos alguns contratempos, algumas dificuldades, e aí infelizmente tive que parar esse projeto. E agora, ano passado, juntamente com a parceria com um jovem ilustrador surdo, nós conseguimos fazer algumas alterações nas ilustrações, como podemos visualizar aqui, e acredito que no segundo semestre, agora desse ano de 2024, quem sabe teremos mais uma obra produzida em escrita de sinais. Falei do primeiro eixo, que estrutura, né, o projeto, e o segundo eixo é exatamente um dos objetivos que a gente mencionou, que é auxiliar no processo de aquisição do português como segunda língua por meio da abordagem pedagógica, que é o letramento visual. Então, por utilizar estratégias de ensino que enfatizam a percepção visual, associando sempre a escrita de sinais, o sistema SignWriting, e utilizando outros recursos visuais, como imagens, gráficos, elementos, inclusive em laboratórios de informática, que nós já começamos também a utilizar e a envolver as crianças surdas também com esses outros elementos visuais. Com tudo isso, cria um ambiente de aprendizagem que favorece e enriquece o potencial dos alunos surdos, permitindo a eles um pleno desenvolvimento educacional. Gostaria de destacar aqui também alguns trabalhos feitos, né, algumas atividades que nós fizemos. Aqui eu registro a aplicação da abordagem do letramento visual por meio da utilização do livro. Aqui visualizamos os nossos alunos surdos, segurando aqui o livro, né, da Lenda da Manguda. Tem aqui um vídeo, eu gostaria de passar um vídeo, só um pequeno momento que eu tive da aula. Então, só para deixar um registro, né, do que está acontecendo, que nós estamos ainda executando o projeto. Então, nesse momento, eu passei rapidamente 2 vídeos contendo ou mostrando o processo de leitura em escrita de sinais desempenhado pelos estudantes surdos que fazem parte do projeto. E o que eu gostaria de destacar que quando se aplica a atividades que envolvem a leitura da escrita de sinais, o rendimento das crianças, o processo de leitura é muito rápido, é muito simples, eles conseguem se identificar muito bem com a produção escrita, com o que está escrito. Então, a parte de leitura é muito rápida. Eu tive experiências de alguns alunos que de páginas do livro, muitas partes, não foi necessário explicar para elas. Elas começaram a fazer a leitura sem explicação. Eles conseguiram, no primeiro momento, identificar a configuração de mão, entender o movimento, ali da onde parte ou partia o início do movimento, no caso a locação. É incrível, é simplesmente incrível a facilidade que a maioria das crianças surdas tem nessa primeira parte, que é o desenvolvimento de habilidades da leitura. E a escrita de sinais, contribui muito para essa abordagem que nós estamos mencionando, que é o letramento visual das crianças. Aqui também gostaria de destacar a foto, né? Aqui já é uma outra turma, uma turma maior. Eu trabalho principalmente também com turmas do AEE, ou seja, no contraturno, onde temos já o ensino que a gente chama de ensino fundamental 2, que envolve o 6º ano até o 9º. Então são crianças maiores, mas eu também realizei um trabalho, principalmente no ano passado, bem intensivo com as crianças do Fundamental 1, que envolvia as crianças desde o infantil até o 4º ano. E como resultados, para concluir essa parte dos tópicos que nós elencamos logo no início, os resultados até já foi evidenciado ali com aqueles vídeos, com aquelas fotos, com que eu já mencionei. Tem mais um vídeo que eu gostaria de apresentar. visualizamos aqui o vídeo de uma aluna que fez a leitura de 2 páginas do livro. A gente visualizou que ela teve muita facilidade em fazer a leitura, rápida inclusive, e é isso. A gente percebe com a aplicação do projeto que as crianças elas têm facilidade, elas se interessam, aguça muito o interesse delas, porque é algo novo para elas até então. Antes disso, por exemplo, como eu mencionei, as crianças do ensino fundamental 2, antes que elas começaram ainda no ensino fundamental 1, e elas não tiveram oportunidade, enquanto estavam no ensino fundamental 1, lá no ensino infantil, do primeiro ao quinto ano, elas não tiveram acesso à escrita de sinais, como elas estão tendo agora. Então elas se encantam pela facilidade que elas veem, porque elas estão vendo o registro da própria língua. Porque até então elas só tinham contato com o registro da língua majoritária onde elas vivem, né? No país onde elas vivem, da língua portuguesa, que não tem nada, elas não se identificam por não contemplar as especificidades dessas crianças. Então, o que a gente pode concluir como um dos resultados é que até esse momento, que é a primeira etapa da aplicação do projeto, é que a abordagem pedagógica do letramento visual, utilizando o livro em escrita de sinais, um recurso visual, favorece e muito, primeiro, o interesse dessas crianças para a leitura, para a produção escrita, porque está na sua língua materna. E acreditamos também que com o desenvolvimento, porque como é um livro bilíngue, como já foi destacado, contempla as 2 línguas, isso também está favorecendo, está contribuindo, está incentivando, motivando essas crianças a lerem também, a aprenderem o idioma, o português, como a segunda língua. Concluindo a nossa apresentação, eu gostaria de finalizar com meus agradecimentos. É com imenso prazer que eu expresso minha profunda gratidão pela oportunidade de participar desse evento tão enriquecedor e a experiência que eu tive de compartilhar os conhecimentos, as ideias, né, as minhas perspectivas com todos aqui no evento, né, com os colegas, é realmente deveras valioso, é muito gratificante para mim. Em especial agradeço a Veronique Sutton, a Steven Linguistic, porque foram eles que tornaram possível a concretização desse maravilhoso evento que é o Simpósio SignWriting, onde nós estamos comemorando os 50 anos de história do sistema. Deixo aqui meus contatos de e-mail e me despeço com abraços sinalizados. Até mais.
Wow, that was amazing.
Wonderful, beautiful. And both Steve and I have the book. Yay! Thank you. Ruben. Yeah.
Look at all that beautiful writing.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful presentation and the books are wonderful. Thank you very much. We got a lot of interesting people looking at the video and they are making comments. They're saying things under the YouTube presentation. I just wanted to inform everyone, if you wanted to read what other people are thinking, you can go into YouTube and see list of people talking about the presentation. Very popular. Thank you. This book, and then there's this book. Okay, what's happening next?
All right. All right, so that was Rubens Almeida. Very excellent presentation.
Right. Beautiful. Ah. So
Next, we have Linguistic Studies on the Brazilian Sign Language, Libras, Analysis of Sign Writing from the book Oral Health by Deborah Campos Wanderley. Very nice.
very nice. Yes.
All right.
Think that.
And I think we are ready.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you. It was a beautiful presentation. Wow. Your book is wonderful and the research and the writing, wonderful. I want to get a copy of the book, so later, if you can give us some information, I'll post it on the World Wide Web page for your presentation. And that way we all can get your book. So beautiful presentation. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Give me 1 second, just doing some housekeeping.
Is- What's next?
All right. 1 more second, almost there.
Well, that's the
That was a wonderful presentation.
presentation. Beautiful.
Next, we had planned for Ricardo Oliveira Burrows and Rachel Louise Sutton Spence. They are going to actually come on. And so hopefully they will be able to join us. They are not here yet. So I think we are going to move on to the next presentation.
Oh, I thought I had seen Rachel, but I guess not.
Yeah, she popped in, then she popped out. I don't know if she left because we were in the other presentation or she was having technical difficulties, but I hope that she can come on back and we can have a nice discussion. Right now, it looks like the materialization of deaf literature, reflections on productions in signwriting by Carlos Antonio. Oh, I'm gonna butcher the last name. Jacinto?
No. And
Apologies. Wish I knew how to speak better.
okay, you're doing beautifully. I mean, we don't know ourselves, but anyway, we look welcome. We're gonna look at that one. It's wonderful.
All right.
So impressed with so many presentations.
We really appreciate everybody's hard work and we are just so blessed.
Let's
All right, share screen.
share. Okay.
Oh, no, not that one.
Ah. Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. It's beautiful. And we will contact you with email. Yes, I'll write to you later. It's a beautiful presentation. I appreciate it.
All right. It looks like we have two guests with us to talk about their next presentation. If they can unmute themselves and turn on their cameras. Welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Join us. And we have two people. Hi.
Let's see. We have
Rachel and Ricardo, right?
Yes, they have aesthetic resources of poetry written in Libras. Very exciting. Hi, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your work?
Sounds, we
Is
can
Ricardo- I'm not sure whether Ricardo can see me.
Oh,
I can listen. I was with a problem before. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. I was not listening nothing before, so now I can.
good. We have English here. So
I'm Rachel, and my sign name is this.
Ricardo, and my sign name is this.
happy to meet you both.
It's real pleasure to meet you.
Oh, real pleasure.
Years.
Many years. Yes. I would love to talk with you later about the many, many years from the past. I
I think
know.
the first time was 1987. 89.
1989.
1989 was the first time. Wow.
I know that shows how old. Oh, well, but your name is so famous. I'm so happy to meet you. It's an honor to have you here today.
Do you know, many people think that you and I are family.
Right, of course, because we have one of our last names is the same, Sutton, right? But you know, of course, you know, but I don't think we're family. We could do research. Matt. There are so many people with that name. It's really very common in the English-speaking world. So what about you, Ricardo? Is Barros a very popular name in Brazil?
Not so much. This is a name which comes from Portugal.
Oh,
And
from Portugal.
my family is not so, it's not a big family, but there are many persons, many people with this name in Brazil too.
Yeah.
And for me too, it's a pleasure to be here and can talk to you.
Thank
I have the happiness to send you a book years before, and this book's on SignWriting.org. So yes, how to write in Libras.
I know I was very impressed with your book. Oh, wow. I'm so
Thank you.
honored, really. Thank you. And also, Rachel, I'm honored to have your name. I want you to know. I would love to have a family with you in it.
And years ago, I had the pleasure to find Adam Frost here in Brazil. He came to Bacabal. This is a city in my state. I'm the same state from Rubens, who's working with you on the symposium.
So you know
And
that.
he is amazing too. He's a great person, and he works so hard for let SignWriting know for everyone and everywhere. And we are working together in some projects too.
Oh, you've been working with Adam or with Hobbins?
Yes. I don't understand, sorry.
No, I don't.
Você trabalhou junto com Adam ou com Rubens?
Oh, Rubens,
Hobbins.
with
Okay,
Rubens.
that makes sense.
I work with him. Adam was my teacher in Bacabal.
In Bacabal, that was back in 2017, right?
2019. No,
No.
2017. Yes, 2017.
17, right.
Yes, at 19, I was with my wonderful professor and supervisor, Rachel. We have begun the studies.
So
And so now we are making and showing this work that's about how the static features of the poetry in sign language, written sign language can be found, and we have a comparison to sign language signed and the written one, and we have found many interesting features from static poems, for static features from poems in Libras, written Libras, and it seems that we are in the family because we have Chisutum and we have many persons which work together, and I have found many static features in the works from Mauricio Barreto,
oh,
and you know him.
yeah, Mauricio Barreto, is that right? Okay.
Yes. And I use so many of his poems to study about the static features from the poetry in writing Libras. And this is a part of my postdoc PhD doctoral research. My supervisor is the teacher Rachel Sutton-Spice.
Ah.
And maybe we can play the video to watch. It could be safety and better. I think I'm having some problems with my connection too. And sometimes I see you so stopped. I don't know how to say.
It freezes, right? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not perfect. Technology is very hard, really. It's so confusing sometimes, but we have so many choices now. So I hope you can look at it later anyway, but thank you for introducing yourselves to us. I mean, it's really an honor. Thank you for your work also. Yeah.
Pleasure and honor is ours.
Ah, so sweet. Wonderful. We'll talk later. I have to. Okay. Now enjoy the presentation. We're looking forward to seeing it. Okay.
Hello. I'm delighted to be here at the SignWriting Symposium. I'm Ricardo Barros, and this is my sign name. And this presentation is jointly with the person who's doing the voiceover in English, who's my PhD supervisor, Rachel Sutton-Spence, and this is her sign name. And we're going to be talking about the aesthetic features of Libras poems in sign writing. So this work that we're presenting is talking about poetry in Libras. So we need to ask, what is Libras poetry? And as Sutton Spence has explained, sign language poetry is the ultimate form in aesthetic signing. And it shows that the language form is about the same as the language content, or even more important. So we're asking, when you sign, if the form's important, can you make the same effect in written sign language poetry? And if so, how do you do it? And that's the work that we're presenting on. For our theoretical underpinnings, we used two main sources. The book by Sutton Spence, called Libras Literature, from 2021, and also my master's dissertation from 2020, which was about poetry in Libras and sign writing. And both these resources are freely available for download. You can use the QR code and just, with your phone, download both of them. So the method for this work, we started with a survey of the literature available, but also the work that we're doing here is part of my PhD research that I'm doing in the area of translation of sign language and poetry that Rachel is my supervisor. So the method that I used for the analysis that we're producing made one chapter of my thesis. And this chapter was important because it enabled us to take this information and use it in a course that we gave on poetry in Libras written in sign writing. And we could give this information to the students in the course that we gave last year in 2023. It was an online course so that people from all over Brazil could take part. And the content that we showed them, and what we're going to show now, enabled the students to compare signed sign language poetry with written sign language poetry. As part of the theory of the production of sign language poetry when it's signed, we used the list from Sutton Spence about the aesthetic features of Libras poems. We talked about speed of signing, symmetry and the use of space, repeated hand shapes, the reduced transition movement between signs, constructed action, anthropomorphism, classifiers, non-manual elements, facial expression and body movements, and finally, multiple perspectives. Now this list is for poems that are signed in Libras, and what we were looking at was to see how many of these elements, these features, we could also see in written versions of Libras poetry. Were the aesthetics the same? And that's what we were looking at. To start with speed of signing. This poem that we show in this slide is by Cássio de Lima, a Brazilian poet. And you can see in this poem, in the columns, that he uses grapheme markers, these two different types, to show the speed of the signs. And that's the same whether the poem is signed and you can see it moving, see whether it's fast or slow, or whether it's represented in the written form. So when you read it, you can work out how the speed would be signed. Now symmetry and space. If we look at this poem by Mauricio Barreto, a Brazilian poet, if we look at this poem, we can see a use of symmetry across the horizontal plane, where the signs are reflected as though they were in a mirror. But the signs also use two hands, these signs like wonderful and marvelous, and these are reflected across the vertical symmetry. And that's the same as in signed poems. Turning now to hand shape. Signed poetry in Libras might use a single hand shape or different hand shapes repeated, and that makes the poetry more interesting. And the question is, can we also see that in the written form? When we look at this poem in this slide by Gracie Kelly, we can see that the graphemes are of a single hand shape that's repeated in a circular form. But what's different is the way that the hand shapes are arranged and how many of them there are. So, for example, we can see the woman and all these signs arranged around her head, and it is a single hand shape, but those graphemes are repeated all over, and that couldn't be done real in the body. This repetition of hand shapes is available because they can be done in the written form, and that couldn't be done in a real body, but they can be arranged that way in sign writing. The next example we want to show is constructed action. And with constructed action, the signer maps the features from somebody or something else onto their own body. And if we look at this slide of another poem by Mauricio Barreto, we see that he uses constructed action by taking sign writing graphemes and arranging them in the form of a body. So the body ends up being put in the columns. This isn't particularly of what they're signing, but showing how the body is created. So if we look at the graphemes that show the legs, for example, those aren't the graphemes that you would use normally in sign writing, but creatively we can do that. Our next example is anthropomorphism. In anthropomorphism, animals or objects, things that aren't human, are given human characteristics. So if we take an example in this slide, also by Mauricio Barreto, there we can see that there's a cockerel or a rooster, and it shows all the different elements, human things like sunglasses and shorts that the cockerel is wearing. We know that animals don't wear these things, but they're given to the animal as though it were a human. And all these features can be marked in sign writing as well. So, for example, we see the beak and the sunglasses. So the beak is of an animal, but the sunglasses are something human. And these two are put together in anthropomorphism, and they can both be shown in sign writing as well. If we take the example now of classifiers, we can see that the entity classifiers in a verb or in an action verb can show what a human or an animal or an object is doing. So in this example that we've got as a translation of a book from Portuguese into Libras, and there we can see in the picture there's an elephant and its feet. And under its feet there's a little monkey, and the monkey is running away from under the elephant's feet. And we can see that in the SignWriting text, and we can write down and show the elephant's feet, and we can also show the monkey diving away into the water to escape. And that classifier, both of the elephant's feet and of the monkey, can be put easily in SignWriting. We can also see that we can write classifiers that show different characteristics of animals. So, for example, in the poem Swan in Love, also by Mauricio Barreto, we can see that the SignWriting is used in conjunction with images, with photographs. And there we can see different characteristics of the swan, for example, moving its beak, moving its tail, and the two swans meeting. Now, with the beak, you can show these forms, you can show the body of the animals just in the detail that we need for the creativity in these classifiers. And we can put these creative classifiers also in SignWriting. In some cases, we may also want to include non-manual features of facial expression and of body movement. So, for example, in this translation, we translate the image of a Brazilian Indian who is looking thoughtful. And in SignWriting, we can also reproduce the image of him looking thoughtful. And with the facial expression of the one eyebrow raised, we can also put that and the body movement to increase the aesthetics in SignWriting. So in conclusion, we can see that the aesthetic features of Libras when it's written and when it's signed on the body are pretty much the same. You can write it or sign it. But also, the creativity in written Libras poetry allows you to do extra things because it's written down. So the aesthetics can be different. So, for example, with the hand shapes, adding the hand shapes that are not ones that you can do live. So, for example, you can add extra ones, extra characteristics that you can add to the form of the body. Thirdly, our third conclusion is that there is one aesthetic element that is performed on the body that you can't do on writing, and that's the reduced transition movements between signs. When you reduce the movement between two signs, you create a particularly smooth, comfortable aesthetic effect. And that reduced transition that's produced on the body can't be shown in SignWriting because of the separation of the signs in the graphemes. So that reduction of movement that you see removed in the physical form when it's signed, you can't see in the written text. So because of that, we lose the aesthetic effect of the reduced transition movement. Or at least we haven't yet worked out how to show that. So these are the references that we've used. And thank you. Bye.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That was interesting.
Rachel, it's coming back. Want to put on your voice? No? Can they do that?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's Ricardo. Oh, yeah, you can hear. Okay, that was beautiful. Wow. Poetry written in SignWriting is exactly what I was always dreaming about. You know, not everyone knows that you can write the way that you wrote. That was beautiful with the hands all around. Wow. And it puts a lot of movement, writing, feeling, because you're doing the body and not so much like forced to do it in a very formal way. Now you can change the rules, right? And you can write it the way it really feels and looks. That transition issue is interesting. Have you tried writing transition? Do you understand me?
Yeah, when I was student my master degree, I tried to make it and to write the transition between a sign and another, smooth way, but we can't. At least I can't.
Hey, you don't have to. It's just an interesting question, right?
Yeah, maybe someone will have the one creative idea that should to
Well-
give us the solution from this for this, but and the beginning of the last year we have as I said in the video, we have teach a course of poetry in sign language, written sign language, and so many new ideas of how to make poetry in sign language using sign writing. But this is not yet in this presentation because we'll be on my PhD thesis.
Just remember that I'm a dancer, right? And before I was writing sign language with dance at the same time.
Yeah.
There were people who did like a dance performance and they were signing at the same time, and we were writing it all. And I was writing, the stage, and showing 3 people walking in here, and they were signing to each other over there, and we had a whole group of people. So I got used to, I'm so sorry for my noises. Anyway, my point is that I got used to writing everything. Now, of course, that's not necessarily language and maybe not important, but we would be writing people walking into a group of people. So we got used to transitions, if you understand me. That does not mean we have to write it. I was just curious why you had talked about that, because you had thought about it. You were thinking about moving from one sign to the next and writing that. That's interesting. Do we do that in spoken languages? Are there any spoken languages that have research on writing? Let me see. Hello, my. The transition into one word to the next word. Do we write that?
We separate them, but we first write one word and then another word and then another word, and there is a space between them. And it's the same with signs. When we write, we follow the rules to write it in sign writing, and then we have to choose when the sign will begin and when the sign will end. And then the other and the other and the other, and that's how you make a text, right? And how you can write the transition, this movement between one and another, if you have to choose where this sign began and where this sign ends and the other two. And when this transition movement in sign language poetry is important when you sign, because you have to choose the signs and the sequence of signs that you will use, because they have to have the same I don't know how to say in English.
Well, you're doing fine. You're doing beautiful.
Às vezes tem que coincidir parâmetro.
You need the same parameters. You need the same parameters at the end as you do at the beginning of the next one.
Right.
And so because of that, that's an integral part of sign language poetry.
Okay. Wow.
And how will you do this movement between one sign and another? At least I did not have a solution, but this is me.
I'm curious, if you are picking the signs that you're using, can the reader kind of imagine what the transition would be? Or is it something that only you could see in a live signing?
I can't imagine how it could be in written language.
Yeah, I can understand.
Uh,
We have you have formal words or signs that are written in sign writing.
Yes.
And then you're putting that maybe in very creative ways, you're putting things around heads and different things to make it more visual and beautiful, that we can't do that in the spoken language of English. Have you ever seen poetry in English where they put the words around a person's head? I have never seen that before. So that's very visual anyway. You've already been writing very new way, right? That's beautiful.
This is what makes me to begin to study about the poetry in sign languages and sign writing, because I have seen before some poetries in French language, not sign language, but oral language. And there's a man called Apollinaire. And he used to make poems and to write a line. And with a line, he makes an image, like a cup of tea, like the rain, like an umbrella, and many others designs. And when I see, I started to think, can it be possible we have poems like this in sign language? And I was studying my graduate, the Letras Libras, and I have studied sign writing with the professor Marianne Stump, and I was beginning to understand how to write in Libras. So I look for something that could be similar in the internet, and I found the poems from Mauricio. And that's why I write my project for masters, and I send it to Professor Rachel, and she accepted to be my supervisor.
Wonderful, wonderful story. So Rachel, what do you think? You think there's a future for transitions, or maybe that should just be forgotten? What do you think?
I
Yeah.
think the idea of the transitions, the morphismo, I'm not sure whether we are going to see that.
Yeah.
I will ask you, wait for one more year and you will see what Ricardo has found of what the students can do with creative sign writing to create sign language poems. It's just beautiful what people can do.
You're
So
right about that.
wait
And
for,
for
wait
many
for
years.
the next one.
Doesn't have to be 1 year, it can be many years. And think about dance a little bit. Ask someone to do a dance and sign at the same time. And then try to write that a little bit. I think you'll feel transitions that way. It's like a research project. Yeah. Never.
Try.
Thank you for the wonderful lecture. It was really perfect. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you.
you.
Pleasure
Thank you.
to meet you both. Beautiful.
We
Well,
say in Brazil, the pleasure is ours.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk more later. Okay, good.
All right. Our next presentation.
Beautiful lecture. Let me see, what do we have now? Do we have Miki? Yay. This is Danielle.
The Extraordinary World of Miki, a book inspired by the author's real story.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this up and queued.
Oh, I have her book. I have to go get it. Ah, obrigada, Danielle. Danielle gave us copies of this beautiful book. See? And she gave us Steve got one, but I have to send it to you, Steve. That I got one, Adam got one. Thank you, Danielle, for this beautiful book. And see, it's a beautiful presentation, and I'm impressed because it seems that children read sign writing fast with good books and good education and planning like you've done, Danielle. So I'm really impressed. Don't you think, Steve?
It's amazing all the work that people are doing. They're just making future generations possible.
Yeah, so Steve just said that, future generations now can be reading sign language because they have the books that you are inventing and making. They're just beautiful. And the presentation was clear. Don't you think? Perfect. Yeah. So I get a chance to read too. Thank you, honey. Okay. So now what's next?
The next is our final presentation, and it is by you, Val.
Well, I want to tell you all that I have good friends. James Shepard Cagle. That's James Cagle. And his wife is Judy Shepard Cagle. And I made this video because I want to express my thanks to these beautiful people. And James Cagle wrote a lot of Nicaraguan sign language. So that's what this is about. So I think we should just show it because that would go the fastest for everyone. Hello, my name is Valerie Sutton, and I'm sitting in my kitchen in La Jolla, California. And I want to share with you something very special. James Shepard Cagle. I gotta show you his picture. There's James and his wife Judy Shepard Cagle. My best friends, I love them so much. Well, James spent his many years writing lots of literature in Nicaraguan Sign Language, and he was the first to do it, and he was a pioneer. And I'm so grateful to you, James, for having supplied the world with such a gift. So what I want to tell you is there's so much literature that I want to share with you in Nicaraguan Sign Language, written in sign writing, that it's overwhelming. And we started working together in 1996. Well, we actually met in 1976 or 77 or so, but the actual recording of Nicaraguan Sign Language using the SignWriter DOS program, the computer program developed by Richard Gleaves, and then later using the SignWriter Java program, which was further developed by Rich Cadle. I want to thank both developers, but it was a tremendous program no matter what, and they were able to write all kinds of Nicaraguan Sign Language because of it, and James just spearheaded it and worked really hard at it. Good for him. And I want to thank Darlene Clark Gunsalz for having trained him in SignWriter DOS. I'll never forget that. It was a hard job because it's hard to learn software, but he learned how to type Nicaraguan Sign Language, and then James went ahead and produced one document after the other, and there were so many documents over the years that, of course, he sent to me. I couldn't even find them all recently, although a lot of them I did find. I still need to put them together and give you a long list, but at the moment they are located in different file formats. We have Nicaraguan Sign Language written in SignPuddle Online, so they're actually web documents. We have Nicaraguan Sign Language literature in actual books that were published by big-time publishers, and James would type something and then he would cut out the sign writing like a piece of paper from the printout and then paste it down onto the book that was already printed and published by a big-time publisher like Babar and other stories that are really well known. And he got permission, of course, from the publishers to do this, and then he was able to take a photocopy of those pages with the illustrations from the children's stories that he was writing in Nicaraguan Sign Language. And then the students in Nicaragua who were deaf and who were going to schools that James and Judy Shepherd Cagle had established in Nicaragua. So the students were really lucky. They had a lot of literature. Well, it's about time we have that literature all available to all of us on the web. And I'm planning to work on this more. And after our symposium is done in 2024, I'm going to go create a web page for every presentation in 2024. We have 26 presentations. Wow. And one of them is my tribute to James Shepherd Cagle, a pioneer in writing Nicaraguan Sign Language literature. So I do have a little bit of a job to do because I have to add all those things, all those documents with links, but I'm gonna do it. And everybody's gonna have a chance to add to their web pages that I create for you so that you have a real archive of your presentation in 2024, and that we all have an archive of James Shepherd Cagle's wonderful writings of Nicaraguan Sign Language. Thank you, James. I'm so grateful to you, and so is everybody else. And thank you, Dr. Judy Shepherd Cagle, for all your love and support, too. And this is a beautiful book, James. Thank you. This happens to be one. It's all online right now, so I'm going to send you the links. But look at this, all kinds of writing, yeah. And I'm going to also show you now 4 different videos that have already been made by James and his co-workers. So you'll see some written Nicaraguan Sign Language in the next videos. Enjoy. Bye.
That was really beautiful, Val.
Sorry. So now you're going to be showing some Nicaraguan Sign Language videos, right? I gave you some links to show.
Yes, you did. Let me pop this up then.
It's a little confusing because these videos that you're going to look at now have already, I think they're many years old, actually, maybe 3-4 years ago they were made. And they show deaf people who know Nicaraguan Sign Language signing and then the writing in the sign writing. So they're nice videos. Later, we're going to put up newer things that have not been shown before, but I wanted you to see some written Nicaraguan Sign Language now. Hi,
All right, and we have another one to show.
another one. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. Beautiful. Those beautiful videos. signing in Nicaraguan Sign Language and seeing the sign writing right under that. I think it's just beautiful. Thank you for showing that. And I think there's one or two more if you want to see some grammar that is taught in Nicaraguan Sign Language.
Yeah, you sent the same video twice, once with Spanish captions and another with English captions. You want me to play them both?
Yeah. I think you're right. Let's choose which language. Maybe because we've been talking English so much, maybe we should just put in the English one for now. And then I can put the link for the Spanish one later. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Sounds great.
okay. Because, you know, teaching grammar did take many languages. I remember I was impressed that they had it in both English and Spanish, right? So,
All right, give me a second here.
oh no, that's fine. There's so much to show. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for showing the Nicaraguan Sign Language video, Steve. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
And James Shepherd Cagle will be missed, and we love him. And he has a huge legacy, meaning many writings, books, videos, teaching, established schools all over the world. I mean, he's really all over Nicaragua, but it gets spread all over the world because there were so many articles about the research that was involved with writing Nicaraguan Sign Language. So I'm very proud to have the chance to post all of that information. It's going to take me time. I feel, do you remember yesterday we had the first presentation by Richard Gleaves? Do you remember that? And one of the things that Richard Gleaves taught me recently is that the Internet Archive, I think it is archive.org, I think. It's like a library on the internet, and it's free to post your books. Anyone can go into that World Wide Web page and choose to make an account and post your books. So I was thinking we could make a different internet archive, area, or like a library for Nicaraguan Sign Language. Do you think that would be a good idea? It would be a different way. Well, we'll post it on our World Wide Web pages also, but we're only one small group. And this is another way sort of to back up what you've already posted in another area, because you just never know with the servers, right? So that way you can get the different information about people and their work and their books and their history. So we already have the ebooks that Richard Gleaves had developed, as you know. That's what he showed yesterday in that first presentation, which are just beautiful. But I'm thinking of doing that for Nicaraguan Sign Language also. I just wanted to explain that to everyone, and maybe you want to use that Internet Archive for Brazilian Sign Language too. We could get a whole bunch of books. So that's my idea. And I want to thank you for today. I think that's the last one for today, right?
That's it for today. That was a lot of literature. Wow.
Yeah, a real lot. And there's a lot more. That other people in other countries are writing all the time. And there's a long list of other countries. This symposium seems to be more from Brazil and then also a little from Nicaragua. And then we had a wonderful movement writing presentation yesterday by, well, his name is A.E., but it's also Suti Kun. And he did a beautiful job writing dance and so many different things. Yeah, they were really fabulous. So have we had other sign languages in this symposium? I'm not sure. Don't think so. No. So tomorrow we have presentations on research, right?
Yep, we have 7 tomorrow.
7 tomorrow. Wow. Okay. And then the next day, the 4th day, is the software, right? The programs, the development of typing and how to write. So will you be presenting, Steve?
I'm finishing up my presentation as we speak, so hopefully, yes.
I can understand. You've been so busy. It's hard to do everything, but we're looking forward to that. So if anyone else has any questions, just write to us. And so we're going to go rest. Is everyone going to get some rest? And we'll see you tomorrow. Do you want to say anything else, Steve?
I think that is it. It was another great day at the SignWriting Symposium.
At the SignWriting Symposium. Well, thank you. Thanks to you. And thank you to everyone who presented today. They were beautiful presentations. We're very happy to see them. And I look forward to really studying them later. Okay, I keep looking over here because I can see there are people writing under the YouTube video. So you can put your information if you want that. Okay. All right.